I want to talk about accomplishing things long term and what goes into that. Everything we do that has any significant value, that is any significantly large project, everything we try to accomplish, whether we realize it or not, it happens in 3 stages. Some of those stages for small things happen in a flash in your mind and you're not even aware of them. And that number 1 is the vision. It's going to be vision, blueprint, and execution. The number 1 is the vision. You need to understand where you're trying to get to. You're climbing a mountain. You're at the top of the mountain. You have to know where that is. And the clearer you can make the vision, the better. But realize the vision is going to be fuzzy no matter what you do. We go from the general to the specific. That's how our minds work. So when you have this vision that is 5 years out, it's like looking at the mountains that are 20 miles away. You can't see all the details. You know the mountain's there. You have some rough idea what it's going to take to climb it. But so you want to be as clear about this vision as you can, but realize it'll never be crystal clear. And it will change as you climb this mountain. So I think that's really important. And part of this vision is understanding why it's important to you. In the personal finance thing, it usually has something to do with getting stable, getting positive surplus in our income, having money put aside for vacations and tuitions and things like that, saving more money for a future, for our retirement, and all of those things. So you have a vision for where you want to accomplish a variety of different projects, probably. The next step is the blueprint, and shift metaphors on you here. But if we think of I love the idea of a 10-story building. Your vision is on the roof. That's your goal. That's where you want to be. And you're down on the ground level floor. And for whatever reason, the building has no stairs. Doesn't have stairs, doesn't have elevator, doesn't have any way to get up there, but you want to be up there. So the next step you're going to need to do is design a blueprint for a set of stairs for all 10 stories to get you to the roof. And those set of stairs is going to be in a particular order. You're going to need to do this before that. And so when you make this plan, this blueprint, it's going to include, back to the Golden Gate Bridge, you don't just order the concrete and build a bridge, right? They had to build the whole plan. They knew what was going to happen on day 1, day 2, day 3. They had to put all that stuff together in a plan before they did anything. They had to negotiate with the city, with the regulators, all kinds of things that have to go into this plan. We can't just do anything major without that. And again, that plan may change as you start building the stairs. You might realize, oh, this, I don't know, concrete is hard to get. Maybe we need to shift the composition of them. So you're going to shift as time goes by based on your own situation. And then any of these stages can be problematic for a person with ADHD, but especially the ADHD executive function, time blindness, and ability to actually get things going and get things started and continue and to be and sustain that action. So the execution phase is probably the most problematic for the ADHD person, which means we go back to the blueprint again. It needs to be really delineated and articulated in its specific small steps. If you're having trouble getting started on most anything, one of the things that might help is to think of the smallest actionable step you can take. You take one step, you've taken an action, you've got a little bit of momentum, and you're more likely to take the next step. So if your execution phase is tripping you up, go back to the blueprint and say, you know what, some of these tasks that I set out for myself are actually projects. We break them down some more. A task is something you can just do in one shot. A project is a series of tasks. Yeah. So vision, blueprint, execution. Part of this is to set life goals for yourself. Life goals. And, there's another definitional thing here, but goals are usually bigger, abstract things that we want to accomplish. That's that vision part of it. Objectives are pieces of the things that will accomplish achieving the goal. Objectives are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound, the SMART thing. The objectives are very clear about what you're going to do. The goal itself may be a little bit more abstract because it's bigger and farther away. So we want to set life goals. We want to make a budget to achieve those goals, whether it be paying for college tuition or retirement, whatever it happens to be. So when we do that, and this is a big issue in the ADHD community, it's not just us. I'm not shaming ADHD people. I'm just saying this is a fact that is very difficult for us. And it's not just us. It's everyone has some problem with this. When we make a budget and we think it's all great intellectually, it looks perfect, and then it's not working in 3 months. So we really want to go back to that budget and say, okay, why isn't it working? Why am I not sticking with this? The thing to remember here is we don't want to violate promises to ourselves, right? Violating promises to ourselves is one of the most damaging things that people with ADHD do. You not only didn't get the thing done you promised, but you also lost faith in yourself when you make a promise to yourself and you don't follow it through. So we need to make promises, limited promises to ourselves that we will keep, that we can and will keep. And those are both important, right? It has to be possible, but it also has to be something that we will do, right? Just because something is possible doesn't mean we'll accomplish it. I have, for example, I have a kind of a bucket list of things I want to accomplish in 5 years. And I don't care if it's 3 years or 7 years. I just have a list of things that I want to accomplish personally, in business, and in my volunteer work, right? Those are my 3 areas that my whole life revolves around, other than family, actually was at the core. But so I had that bucket list. I'm going to pull things off. I'm going to end up with, okay, what can I reasonably accomplish in this week? And it's subjective. I am going to guess, what can I reasonably do in this week? And then when I'm planning tomorrow tonight, which I virtually always do, I'm going to look at that list for the week, and I'm going to I do it electronically. I'm going to drag things in and say, you know what, out of this list of things I want to do during the week, here are the things I absolutely will do tomorrow, right? The week is a little bit subjective. It might not all happen, but it's what I'm hoping will happen. But I'm going to drag things in, and I'm going to be very conservative about it to start with. So if I have to write a blog and I think the blog's going to take me 45 minutes, I'm probably going to allocate at least an hour for that, maybe longer. And I'm not just going to put it on a to-do list. I'm going to say, you know what, I've got exercise in the morning, I've got a class at 8, and at 9 o'clock I've got some time. I'm going to put the blog at 9 o'clock. I may not hold myself strictly accountable for it, but at least I see it and it's at 9 o'clock. And I know if it's not being done, that's a little bit of a red flag. What I do hold myself 100% accountable for is to complete everything on that agenda. Everything I put on the day's agenda, not the week, on the day's agenda, I will get done even if I have to stay up till midnight, right? And I don't want to stay up till midnight, right? I have a life, right? So I don't want to do that. So if I'm wrong, if I've misjudged the time, I'm going to learn, right? That we can do that. So I'm going to learn. I can say, next week, whatever it is tomorrow, I'm going to put less on that agenda. And I actually started the other way around because my first coach kind of didn't have the same ideas exactly, but same concept. I was working 14 hours a day when I was diagnosed, and I was literally getting nothing done. I was in some kind of frenetic vibration. I was getting nothing done, but I was working, right? What she taught me and showed me says, okay, Rick, just pick three little incredibly simple things. One of them was to pay my utility bill. So pick 3 things and promise yourself that tomorrow you're going to do those 3 things. I did. It seemed really ridiculous to me, except that I only got 2 of the 3 done. So that's a clue, right? They were really easy and I didn't get them done. I was definitely afraid she was going to fire me, right? Because she gave me something simple and I didn't even get my homework done. So she didn't. She actually wasn't surprised that it failed. So we continued with 3 little things for a week and a half or something. When I began to be able to get all 3 of those things done consistently, not breaking a promise to myself, she said, do the 3 things. You can do everything else you want. You got a whole list of things you want to do. I'm not stopping you. Just do those things and promise that you'll get those things done first or during the day. So that's how this whole thing started for me. It's evolved. And the thing that was really important about that is it builds a confidence. If I had a to-do list, which I used to do, I have 10 things on, I do 7. All I'm aware of is I lied to myself and I did not do the things that I promised myself. I did some of them, but I probably skipped the ones that were tedious and dull and difficult or whatever the reasons were. So there's a subtext to your life, right? Everybody around you, if you don't believe you can count on yourself, I guarantee people read the subtext, they're not going to count on you either. I think it's really important to get the real power of being able to say, yes, I'm going to do that tomorrow, and I have 100% certainty virtually that it'll get done.